Welcome, everybody, to Catfish Weekly, presented by Whiskerware Apparel, along with Doc Lang. I'm Lyle Stokes, and welcome to the show. We'd like to announce right off the bat that Chuck is not going to be with us tonight due to the passing of his father and going through the times that he's had this past holiday weekend. So keep him in your thoughts and prayers. I know we appreciate it much. We've talked to Chuck here a little bit the last couple of days, and it's just a pretty rough time for everybody. So please, if you get a chance, just be thinking about him, because we miss him on here, and I'm sure he'll be ready to go, raring to go, be back with us next week. How's things going out there in Ohio land, Doc?
Pretty nice for the 26th of December. It was 65 degrees today with about 30-mile-an-hour winds. So, but we don't see that too often over here.
I understand completely. We had some 60-degree weather here, and it was really, really windy here also. Yeah. And, I don't know if anybody in our area was out fishing, but for those of you that follow Facebook closely, I am sure that everybody has seen the pictures of the fish those guys are catching on Wheeler. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, they're knocking them out. Last week was, Doc, that Larry Butte, a couple of his buddies, landed 92 and 94 or something, and 112.
Yeah, wow.
I know Matt Marshall hit down there this morning, I think 6 minutes into the first drift after he got there. They had what appears to be a 30 or 40 in the boat. They caught 3 or 4 fish within the first hour that was like that or bigger. So them guys are going to have a great week down there. I hope the front moving through doesn't affect them too bad. I know Chuck had told me that he's still planning on fishing that, so that'll be a good time for him, get some things off his mind, get some fish in the boat.
Yeah, a bent rod and drag screaming have a tendency of clearing one's mind out.
It does, and he's got a outstanding fishing partner. Tony is such a really cool guy, and those guys will not only sort out Chuck's mind, but they will fix all the problems in the world while they're in that boat and have them straightened out.
Yep, that's right. So, and tonight, Lyle, we don't want to forget, tonight is episode 150.
Isn't that something?
That's pretty good.
It is. It's amazing that we've had the show on for, and that does include some of the live events that wasn't listed. So actually, we're over that. But 150 episodes of Catfish Weekly is a milestone for us. I know we're all very proud of it, and just thrilled that everybody watches us on Monday nights. And there's so many other things that they could be doing, and they spend their time with us. So that's pretty outstanding.
Yeah, it is.
I know you had told me before we started the show that you're going to have some time off this week. Are you got any plans to get out on the water?
No.
Yeah.
It's going to be too cold for me. That's below. It's supposed to be only a high of like 32, and that's my limit.
Yep. I understand. Yeah. I'm really still pretty excited about the fact that Janet and Bink are headed to Wheeler, and Bink's going to get to go fish in that tournament. I think that's a really cool deal. I'm so happy for him, and I know that them guys are going to have a blast down there.
Yeah, I talked to him on the way home from work tonight. He'd been out on the water all day. He said 8 hours is about his maximum limit. He said he wanted to find out what his limit was, and he said about 8 hours, and that's about it. So he said he caught 5
about for me.
Yeah. For any of us, especially when it's this cold, when it starts getting cold, and that he said the wind was blowing real hard, and he said the current the river raised a foot while they were out there.
Oh man! Was they on the Ohio?
Yeah, he come out of Portsmouth. Said he threw the cast net one time, and he said he had enough bait for the whole day.
Holy crap! I keep hearing these stories of guys getting bait like that, and pictures online, but it usually takes me more than 1 or 2 throws.
No, that's pretty, except really in August and September, late in the year, pretty much anywhere we go around here, our shad are pretty thick.
We've got shad like that in the lakes, but when you get on the rivers, them Asian carp have run a lot. Well, I'm not saying you can't get them like that, because you can on certain times, but that Mississippi River from St. Louis north till you get to the Keokuk line, the shad population has been depleted so bad by the Asian carp eating up everything that the shad eat, that it's really tough sledding up there.
Yeah. Wow.
But, you can't keep them out of the boat, so you might as well whack them and stack them and use them for bait.
Yeah.
There's not much smells any worse than them old big heads, so you might as well make good use of them.
It's just the fact that you got to look at them and their eyes are on the bottom side of their head. That just bugs me to no end.
They're on the wrong side of that fish. I don't care what they say. They're just in the wrong place. But they do smell. They make good bait. I used to think that summertime, the hotter the weather got, the better they work for bait. But I know Ryan Casey made the statement last year. A bunch of us was talking, and he said that shad had got so hard to get in the St. Louis area last year that he was using them year round with some great success. So I would assume that if Ryan can catch them with Asian carp, that everybody else should be able to too. And you can make the bait on them as big or as small as you want, because there's usually they're big enough to whack up any way you want to.
That's right. That's right.
But
and there seems to be plenty of them.
It does. There's a lot of them in our area. Now, we don't have them on the lakes, and we don't want them in the lakes. So hopefully things will keep going like that. But the Mississippi, Missouri River, Illinois River, I think any tributary that has anything to do with the Mississippi River system has got all of them that a man could ever want. And if for some reason they're not jumping the day you're out, if you just go behind a wing dike or in some slack water, you can probably throw your nest, get 2 or 3 of them, and have all you need.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we did. We slid right behind the barge, and we had the cast net full. The boat was full. I mean, we had 25 or 30 of them in the boat, and I didn't even throw the cast net at that time.
Absolutely. So it is what it is, and we're stuck with them. We're never going to get rid of them, so you might as well make some use out of them. And I know a lot of guys are eating them, and I have actually had them, and they're not terrible to eat. I'm not going to say they're as good as catfish or crappie or walleye or something like that, but they're not bad. They're not bad at all. You could eat them and do right well on them. Personally, I'm a catfish and crappie kind of guy. I hardly ever clean a catfish. We usually go out to eat them, but simple fact is I just don't want to wrestle them around. I just don't want to do it. It's not that I can't clean fish. I just choose not to.
Yeah.
But, it is what it is. Winter Blues on Wheeler coming up this weekend. I know there's going to have a big crowd down there. I have to tell you guys, this will be the first year that I haven't been able to make that tournament. Something's come up, and I'm not going to be able to make it down there. I'm extremely disappointed in that, but and I've got some issues that I have to get taken care of, so we're going to take care of that and get back on the straight and narrow just as quick as we can. But we'll miss being down there, and I know them guys are already having fun. The ones that are there are already having a blast, and the ones that aren't there will be having a blast tomorrow night or the next night whenever they arrive. I know Troy Hansen and Johnny Coleman and all them boys from up in Iowa are heading down there. I also know Claude and Ryan and a bunch of guys from over in Indiana and on over in your direction are either already left or on their way, and a bunch of Missouri boys are already down there, and no telling how many people that we don't even know about that's going to go down there. They're going to have a great tournament, Doc.
Yeah.
And like I say, the fish are on fire down there, so if this front pushing through Friday doesn't tear them up too bad, by the time Chuck and his partner get down there, they should be ready to go, and all they got to do is find some of these guys haven't been punching holes in all week.
Yeah.
We had talked to John Nordyke, and Claude had called me, and they had an extra room in a cabin they had, and John had got a hold of me, I don't know, a month or so ago, and we talked about it. He said, that's a long way to go down there. I said, yeah, the trip doesn't bother me as bad as the doctor saying, hey, you can't do this, you can't do that. Well, I want to tell you something, Doc. When a doctor tells you can't eat all you want and you can't drink all you want, there's no sense of being at Winter Blues on Wheelers for me, because that's what we go for, and to go down there and have to sit around and watch everybody do that, that'd been awful hard for this old man. So we're just going to set this one out and make the next one and go that way. But them guys will start in tomorrow night most likely, and they will have a huge ton of fun, and everybody will catch a lot of fish. And I'm looking forward to the weigh-in Saturday. I think there'll be some big numbers. There usually is some big numbers, but I think they'll set records this year if the fish continue to bite like they have been for the last week down there. If they'll finish out this week like that, there'll be record numbers of fish weighed in down there this year.
Yeah. Especially if that cold front, when it moves in, I don't know how bad it's going to affect Alabama, but boy, it'll do one or two things. Either it'll spark them up and make them go, or it'll just push them down and shut them up.
Well, they'll probably go a little deeper, but the last I knew, they was talking about a little rain down there, and it couldn't be as bad as it was a couple years when we was down there when Big caught that big old flathead. We all like to drown in that monsoon. My gosh, it was terrible that year. Rain just poured and poured and poured and poured, and then after it quit, of course, we had a really pretty day. But that's the year Bink went to put the fish back in the water and fell off in the lake, and it was one of them trips where everybody had a good time. He got a little wet, but it was still a great time, and I think they won that year, didn't they?
Yeah, Bink and Janet. Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, that was a great fish, and I'm not sure if Janet didn't catch that flathead that time.
I don't remember.
I don't remember which one of them caught it, but it was a great fish. It was just huge, and it was a really fun trip down. It's always fun down there. I mean, everybody's running around. They can't wait to see everybody else, and some of them you haven't seen all year, so you're excited about getting around them. And it's New Year's Eve, and it's just the greatest time that ever could be. And the cabins, I'm sure, are booked solid. They always are, and the motel's probably full. That gas station's probably making more money than they know what to do with. And that's the thing about for them little towns. This time of year, I mean, it's got to be tough on them. A deal like this brings a lot of revenue into them towns.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I want to say something else. Mention something else to you, Doc. All weekend, we've been adding more tournament directors and tournaments into our Catfish Weekly National Championship that's coming up 2018.
All right.
I was on the phone every day last week, multiple times. People were wanting to know. They got some of these tournaments. They have to get approval from a board or other guys. They want to get it clear to make sure it's all right. Every day last week, 2 or 3 phone calls. Christmas Eve, 3 phone calls. Christmas Day, 2 phone calls. 3 today. I mean, it's going to be a huge event. We're going to have a great time at that. This is going to be a really big deal. We threw that out there, the first post, thinking that maybe we could get some interest in it. I wanted to kind of feel our way around, and it has really took off. And I have a feeling it's going to be a big, big deal by the time it gets here. And as soon as the first of the year gets here, we get past the first New Year's Day and all that, then we'll really start working on knocking down motels and places to eat and see if we can get discounts for rooms for everybody and all this. But I did talk to the ranger station up there the other day. We pulled in to the boat ramp up there. We got the wrong one the first time we pulled into one. I missed a public beach one and pulled into a different one. It happened to be the ranger station. And they told me that they had an 1,100 boat bass tournament out of public beach one boat ramp. 1,100 boats in a bass tournament. That is a huge bass tournament.
Yeah.
They have plenty of room. They got everybody parked. Everything was good. And they offered to help us with parking and whatever else we need to make this thing happen. So they're excited. Yeah, they're really excited about the fact that we're bringing a big catfish tournament to Lake Ozark. There is lots and lots of fish in that lake. And Clint Gisling was down there. If I remember correctly, it was last Thursday for a little over 3 hours or something like that. 27 fish in the boat, 3 over 30 by himself on a cold day. That's pretty good. In an area that I don't believe he normally fished, because he went up there really close to where the tournament would be held just to see what was up there. So now he may fish that. I'm not saying he didn't fish it, but I don't think he fishes as much as he does some of the other areas. But that was a pretty good day just to run up there and jump in the water. And he said 3 casts. First 2 he didn't get too many shad in his net. The third one he had filled his cooler up a third away from the bottom. So, well, you know, Lake Ozark and Truman are both like that. They're full of bait, and that's what we want. You know, we want everybody to be able to catch a lot of fish. We want everybody to catch some good fish, and we want bait to be readily accessible, and that should be there. When we went on down to the boat ramp, there's just amazing amounts of parking down there for boats and trucks and trailers and all the stuff that we're going to need. And it's a 4-boat launch ramp. So I know that's not like Owensboro. They got a really, really nice facility down there, but this is an older deal, but it's kept up very nicely. There's a store there that's right on the water. There is also, and I'll get all the specifics for this the next time I go up there, they also have, like we did down at Mississippi River Monsters, they have slips that you can rent right there. Where all you'd have to do is rent your slip, walk out on your boat with your ice or whatever you need for the day, your fishing gear, whatever, get in your boat and take off, or already be launched, already have your boat in the water. You just have to take off out of there. And these are big slips like the guy had down there in Memphis. And there's a lot of them. Now, there's not going to be 200 of them or anything like such as that. But there'll be a deal probably like what we done down there, where a couple of us get in one or something like that. But that was about the coolest thing we pulled off while we was in Memphis, was that deal when you went ahead and got that. That was very handy. Yeah. It was pretty good. The only thing you had to do in the morning was put gas in your boat, whether you brought it with you or went over to the marina there and bought gas from them guys, which is fine, because they're doing all the stuff. And to buy a little gas from them is great to help them out. But we got ice from them every day, and and put our gas in the boat, and everything else on that Monster Cat locks up, so we didn't have to take nothing else out of it. And we just crawled in the boat with the ice and filled the coolers up and put the gas in it, and we was down the river, and no launch, no pull in and out, none of that stuff. We was there for all the time we was there, and there will be several of those slips like that available. I don't know how many, but like I say, I'll get all the specifics for that. And this is going to be a lot of fun going to Lake Ozark and fishing that tournament. Now, Alex Daggy has one coming up in March there at the same place. You can get on Twisted Cat Outdoors webpage on Facebook and check that out. It'll go out of Public Beach number 2. Lake Ozarks, it's right off of Highway 54, the main road that goes through there. Now they bypassed a lot of Lake Ozark, the town, and all that stuff, but there's signs, and they just take you right to that thing, and it's not very far off the highway. And like I say, it'll be a good time, be a good chance for a lot of guys to run down there and fish Alex's tournament and get to see what the lake's all about on that end, because any of the very few tournaments that are held at Lake Ozarks are mostly all held at the other end because of boat traffic. But as early as in the year as we're going to be having this national championship, the tourist and the big boat traffic stuff, it shouldn't be a major issue for us.
What's the nearest city for that?
The biggest,
people want to Google it. Yeah.
Camdenton.
What is it? Camdenton?
Camdenton, Missouri. Lake Ozark, when you type in Lake Ozark, it'll pull it up, I promise you. But Camdenton would be the next biggest town, or Eldon, Missouri. Either one are right there. One's on each side of Lake Ozark itself. But Lake Ozark will pull up. There's a town of Lake Ozark and, of course, the lake. And there you can find out all the information about that area that you want. And that was one of the reasons why we were so interested in it. There is everything underneath the sun. There's every pretty much every major eating establishment that you've ever heard of is there, and a lot of them that you haven't that are as good or better than the big names. Of course, they got McDonald's and Wendy's and all that stuff too, but they got some really good places to eat. There's tons and tons and tons of motels and resorts, and we're going to get with those. Like I say, we get past this holiday season, we'll get with those and try to line up a bunch of the motels and places to give us discounts and blocks of rooms and stuff, so everybody that gets qualified can be involved with that. And it's going to be a great event. It really is.
Yeah. And the first qualifying tournament is this weekend.
That's correct.
Winter Blues.
Yep, the top 5 finishers at Winter Blues will be qualified to fish the Catfish Weekly National Championship. And you know, I was telling you a minute ago about the people's calls. We got guys from Kansas, guys from Nebraska, Missouri again this weekend. We had 2 or 3 of them sign up with tournaments here. There's some guys in Illinois that are signing up. There's some guys in Indiana that are signing up. Some more guys from Ohio signing up. We had a couple from Tennessee sign up last week. Alabama's got a couple going. Maryland, they're coming from every place. I'm going to have to get a hold of Bobby Wright and them guys out in Arizona. I think that they need to be involved with this. I really think that at present time, that is the only big tournament in the nation that's not already signed up with us. They have a huge tournament out there in Arizona, and to my knowledge right now, that is the only large mega event that's not affiliated with the national championship. Every other big tournament is already signed up with us.
Okay.
Now there's some series that we don't have yet, and like I say, I know I have visited with 75 tournament directors in the last 3 weeks, and only one has declined. Everybody else wants in, so it's going to be a big deal. And if they don't get in, hey, that's okay. You know, you don't have to get in.
Yeah, right.
Nobody's pushing anybody to get in, but I'll be surprised if there's any more or very many more than that. Texas. There was a couple guys from Texas jumped in right off the bat. They just really excited about it, and I'm excited to get all these places involved with it. I really am. I mean, we're going to get people from everywhere, and the more we get in here, the better it's going to be, and the bigger prize money. As of today, if 5 people for every qualifying event that has told us is going to be there, we'd have about 130 entries right now, and we haven't had the first tournament yet.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, and like I say, there's 75 of them on the, which leaves around 60 on the fence. 60 on the fence that you know, have to get approval, and several of them, and one of them's from out in your neck of the woods, a pretty good sized tournament. A guy I talked to on the phone a couple of times, and he told me, he said it doesn't matter if they won't pay the deal to get our guys in. He said, I'm going to pay it out of my pocket. We're going to be a part of it. I said, all right. However we got to do it, that's what we're going to do. So, like I say, that's the boys out in Arizona. I haven't talked to them. They're one of the 4 or 5 biggest tournaments in the nation. They have nearly 200 boats, or over 200 boats at that tournament every year. And I want to make sure that they're at least offered a chance to it. I don't even know if they're aware of it. I'm still getting guys saying, hey, I never heard about it yet until today or whatever. So I need to get a hold of Bobby and see if they're going to be involved in it. We'd love to have some guys from Arizona and a couple of them guys from California having a qualifier out there and get them in here for this. That'd be really cool.
Yeah. Kind of awestruck. We didn't think this would go over as big as it went over.
As fast.
Yeah. That's,
you know, like I said,
just kind of, whoa. You know, everybody just started jumping right on. Oh, wow. Yeah, that sounds great.
Exactly. You know, we didn't have that post up. I didn't have that post up an hour, and I had 3 or 4 guys call me while we was driving down the road. And I never thought about it taking off that fast. I really didn't. You know, I figured it'd take the whole year to get everybody's interest in, but the minute it hit, they was interested.
Yeah, that's good. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, I'm excited about it. It's going to a great time. I'm going to tell you, though, my oldest son, he's never fished any catfish tournaments with us. Tony's 35. And he told me the other day, he said, Dad, I'm going to qualify for that tournament. Well, of course you are. It's an hour from your house or less. And he doesn't do a lot of catfishing, but one of the most exciting things is the fact that, I won't be able to fish that tournament, or I don't see any way that I possibly can, because I'm going to be doing so much stuff trying to make sure that it's running the way it needs to be, and that we get everything going like it should be. But Tony will probably get to fish with his mother in that tournament, and I'm pretty excited about that.
Good deal.
Yep. She'll get to fish, and they'll get to fish together, and we got some training to do. Them two boys of mine, the only reason I take them in a boat and get them to drive the boat and learn dikes and how to tell where the water's shallow and where it's not. And the only thing they want to do is how fast will it go. And it doesn't matter which boat it is, they just, whatever it'll do, they want to do. That's how fast they want to go. But he gets in there and pulls that stuff to his mother, and he's liable to end up with knots on his head and other places that he ain't supposed to have knots, because she's not too kind with me doing that. She sure ain't going to do it with him unless he figures out where them low spots in that lake's at. I'll guarantee you. But they'll have a great time. I'm really excited about that. I think it'll be a really cool deal. The other thing that we got going on, Doc, is the 2017 Catfish Conference.
Yep. That is not very far away.
It's really not. It's just, a little over a month away from us now. And I know Steve and all the guys at Jeff Jones are working really, really hard to get this finished up. I know the last time I talked to some of them guys, they was just 2 or 3 booths from having it completely filled. You can go to the 2017 Catfish Conference website and find out who all's going to be there, where they're going to be located at. We're going to be there. We're going to be doing a live show, and we want to offer everybody that wants to be on the show, if you've got time, or if you're not in a seminar or watching a seminar, run up there and holler at us. We'll have Cindy or somebody sitting there taking names, and we'll get you in an orderly fashion, and try to get everybody on the show that wants to be on the show. We'll be live broadcasting. Of course, it'll all upload to Facebook or to YouTube once we're done, and we'll try to run them about an hour a session. That way we can kind of get a little break in between time. But it's going to be a lot of fun doing that too. And then you got a seminar coming up there, Doc, and you're going to be talking about Lowrance depth finders. That'll be really cool.
Yeah, I've got most of my presentation pretty much down. And, I've been going over it. Granted, it's only 2 months away, but I want to make sure I got all my ducks in a row. And the other thing, if people out there want me to talk about a certain thing, send me an email or post it here on Catfish Weekly, and I'll see if I can work it into the seminar. It's pretty much open. I'll have question and answers, try to answer the questions that are asked. I don't know everything there is about the Lowrance. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but I've been around these things for about 26 and a half years. So a lot of knowledge there. And Steve, I think that's why Steve asked me to put it on. And I appreciate him asking me, because I do enjoy doing the seminars.
Oh, yeah, I've done millions of them. Well, not millions, but I mean several, and I enjoy doing them. They're a lot of fun, and you get to meet a lot of people, and a lot of times these guys pick up stuff, especially on electronic things. You can show them something that maybe they just don't understand. They know how to, or they think they know, but they don't quite understand how to do it, and you can clarify that right up for them in just a short period of time, and it'll make their life so much easier down the road.
Yeah, because my goal, and it's always been my goal, is to shorten somebody's learning curve when it comes to these things. You pay a lot of money for these things, and you just don't want to be going around taking pictures of stuff.
Well, and I'll throw this out there. There's not but a couple handfuls of guys that realistically can utilize every thing that their units will offer. I know that I can't get all the use out of my bird, the Lowrance, either one, none of them. I can't use them to 100% their maximum ability of what the unit will do. Now, I can use that bird, and I can get it to do anything I want it to do. Pretty much with the Lowrance now after a year underneath the boat, but it will never take the place of a bird.
Yeah.
But being with Chris Jones helped me a great deal, and in those days with you in the boat, that made a world difference. When you're in the boat with somebody for 2 or 3 days in a row, it makes a hell of a difference when you're trying to figure out something you don't like to start with.
Yeah,
it made a big difference for me, and you showing me settings and how to get from one place to the other, and that's a lot of the problem I was having. I couldn't go from A to B and get there and then make the adjustment I want. And a lot of times,
right.
From one body of water to the other, you need to adjust things because it's not the same clarity, and all kinds of stuff is different from one body of the water to the next. And if you can't find where you need to go to make that adjustment, it makes it really hard. Then you're frustrated and aggravated. And like I say, the 6 or 7 days, whatever it was we had together in the boat, made a huge difference for me and being able to find what I needed to on that Lowrance.
Yeah, and the Lowrance and Humminbirds, they're all, it's like the Ford Chevy. They all do the same thing. It's just a different way that each one of them does it.
Well, that's exactly right. And you get comfortable with doing it with one, then the other, it's like you're off in left field. And it's no different, really. It's not that much different. No. Just figure out how to get it.
And a lot of times all it is an adjustment that has to be made.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. And these new ones, the images on all these new units are just so good anymore. I just now I'm not familiar at all with the Garmin, and I hear some guys say some good stuff and bad things about them. I'd really like to go out with somebody and see. But the new Humminbirds, the imagery on them is outstanding, and these Lowrances are. And I don't know. It's going to be hard if I ever have to go back to a non-touch screen.
Yeah,
that's gonna be difficult. That touchscreen, I was scared to death of them because I was worried about having fish scales and guts and stuff on your hand. That's not really an issue with those.
No, it's not at all. So
that touchscreen is probably, in my opinion, the greatest benefit to the new fish finders, depth finders to date. I do appreciate the fact that the screens are so much more crisp and clear. They really are. The images on all of them are outstanding. But that touch screen, it's just amazing.
Yeah, it does drive me crazy because a lot of times I'll reach out, oh, man, look at that. And I'll put my finger right on it, and then boom, it locks it in. And, oh, man, and then I got to hit escape and go out. Well, you see me doing it, oh, look at that ledge right there. I have a tendency of putting my finger on things.
Well, and that's okay, but you can put your finger on that thing and draw a line over to where you're at. It give you the distance, and they're just amazing. And every year I feel like they're going to continue to get better and better every year.
Yeah, and the one thing I learned real quick is, I had the Lowrance 111 hard drive unit, and then I went to the Simrad, which was a full touch, and I had a real problem. I couldn't figure out why my Lowrance wasn't working, and I was trying to do the touch on the Lowrance, and it's, it had the dials and the buttons and all that, and I kept stabbing my finger onto the screen trying to figure out why it wouldn't do anything for me. So then when Jerry had that, he had that Lowrance touch, and he said he can't stand it, and it wasn't long afterwards, that unit was sitting on my boat. So
that's a perfect place for it too.
Yeah, I was real happy with it. Now I got 2 touches, so.
Well, now, before we get off on too much on this Catfish Conference stuff, let's talk about that for just a second. I know you had the Simrad. Now, am I correct? Did you tell me that you basically use it for GPS stuff?
Yeah, mapping. I'm using the Simrad strictly for just mapping. I've got the map is up, and I flip it back and forth between Navionics and Insight Genesis. That way I can see where the ledges are. The Tennessee River is one of the, it just seems, man, it's just got perfect ledges, and there's all kinds of different stuff on that river. And those maps really show it up real well. And that's going to be like part of my seminar where I show, how to find a ledge using the mapping hardware. And the two units are linked together. Lowrance and Simrad are linked together. So it doesn't matter where I hit the waypoint at, it'll put it on both units.
Okay. Now, is there a specific reason why you don't use the fish finding part of the Simrad versus Lowrance?
I got a 12-inch Lowrance. The screen is so much bigger. And I just use it. It's right there, and it's to my right. And I'm looking at the Simrad on the left all the time. Okay. At any time I can just reach over, and I can flip that Simrad right to fish capabilities. And I've got the whole back end of the boat covered using the two of them. Because I got a P66 on the Simrad, and then I've got a regular Lowrance transducer on the 12, but I can change them back and forth to either one of them. It doesn't, either unit will use any of the transducers that are on the back of the boat.
Well, now most of us are not that familiar with the Simrad. It's basically an ocean type thing. So is the imagery as good with it as, say, a Bird or Lowrance?
Yeah, I think it's the more so on the Simrad is the fact that you had, when the Simrad first came out, Lowrance didn't have the radar capabilities, and Simrad did. That kind of stuff was available, but I wanted a touch unit, and the Lowrance was not touch. Simrad came out with the touch before the Lowrance came on.
Cool. Good deal. All right. Well, I was often wondered why you didn't use it. I know that has to be a fairly expensive unit.
Yeah, it is.
They
all are.
They all are. That's correct. They really are. I don't guess that you can buy anything of any quality right now for less than $1,000, $1,500, can you?
No, I don't think so. Though Daniel he picked up a Lowrance, and I can't remember what, elite something, and it's a pretty nice unit. It's all in one transducer, and he brought it over here. We mounted it for him and got it all set. I don't think he's had it in the water since we put it on, because it got cold and all the lakes around here froze up. But I know he's dying to get it in the water so he can see, what this thing's going to do for him.
Absolutely. I'm sure he is. I thought you told me it was an Elite 7. Does that sound right?
Yeah. It's a 7-inch touch screen.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty nice unit.
Nice little unit. I think he got it for less than $700.
Wow. That's a good price on anything that quality.
Yeah, and it's got chirp, and I'm not real familiar with the chirp. I haven't learned much about it. Around here, our water isn't deep enough really to use the chirp.
Do you know what it does? Well, I haven't really figured out what chirp is yet.
Well, it's for doing deep water, when you're going down deep water. So your signal, it's high powered, so it sends those sound waves down quicker, more so than what the regular transducers do. I think it concentrates them.
Okay, so I wasn't sure. I don't. I know these guys are fishing this 100-foot water. I just don't do it. I mean, maybe that's something I need to study more. But where I fish, if you find any 80, 90-foot water, there'll be fish in it. But I've tried and tried, never could get them to go. When you go up to 30, 40 foot of water, you can make them happen. So I just have my success rate on water over 50 or 60 foot is very low. And if you do it and do it and do it and enough times and get burned on it, it's not too long to where you start leaving it alone altogether. And that's kind of where I'm at. That don't mean the next time you and I go fishing, we find 100-foot water, we won't catch a fish, because it very well could happen. But for where I fish mainly, and guys catch them out of there, I have just not had the success rate where I do in half that water.
Yeah, well, I was so shocked. If you remember right, on the Mississippi, we found that one area where we were in 35 foot of water. And then all of a sudden I said, oh, look at this ledge. And yeah, it went from 35 and it was down to 96 foot at the bottom of that. Yeah. I said, yeah, that is a ledge. That is a real big ledge there.
And there was fish in there.
Yeah. But we couldn't bounce quick enough to get that thing down there. Yeah.
No, but we sure had a great time.
Yeah.
I'm really, I'm looking forward to getting back down to Memphis this year. That was our first time down there, and we'd never fished. Actually, we'd never fished below St. Louis. That's as far south on the Mississippi River as we'd ever been. And when we got down there, even though the Mississippi River is the Mississippi River, from bottom to top, it's different down there than it is from St. Louis north. No dams to cut the current. You're running flat out, whatever it is, just like on the Missouri River, and lots of wing dikes and stuff like that. That a lot of rivers, I guess the Ohio River hardly has a wing dike, if they do have any wing dikes. We got them everywhere. They're everywhere. For us, the rivers that we fish, Missouri's full of them, the Mississippi's full of them, and once you get past them dams, it opens up, and it's a whole nother horse than what a lot of people are used to. Now, the guys that live down there and fish that area and further south, it doesn't bother them because they're used to it. It's kind of like the guys that fish over around Brunswick, Kansas City, place like that on the Missouri River. They're used to that screaming current. They're used to all them wing dikes. They're used to everything that goes on that fast water, and other guys are not. And it's not that you can't fish it. It's just that you have to adjust to things that you're not used to adjusting to.
Yeah, when I was up in St. Louis, that was when I was there, they had the gates swung wide open. That's the first time I'd ever seen that. On Ohio, I've never seen them swing the gates open, except when it's really flooded. But I thought that was current till I got down where the confluence of the Missouri and the Mississippi come in there. And then I realized, man, here is some serious current.
It is. And when it comes screaming out of that Missouri River into that,
man,
that it makes a big old half circle out to the far side of that river. And when you hit that, you've hit it. There's no question.
Yeah. Especially when you see them big trees go flying by you.
Oh, man. It's something else.
I liked it up there. I felt comfortable up there fishing.
And that's the thing. I've fished that river years ago. I haven't some time now, but I've been on that river many times in a 16-foot John boat with a 35 horse motor, and never had. I really braved it up one time. I took my brother, and my oldest son wasn't very old. I don't know, probably 10. And I had a little 16-foot narrow Lake John with a 7.5 horse motor, and we launched that baby in down there at Louisiana and went up to Salt River and just went up Salt River and fished. But that wasn't one of my more intelligent moves. That boat or motor was neither one big enough for that river, and I understand that now. But we wanted to go, and the current wasn't terrible, and we went up there. But I'm pretty sure I ain't never going to do that again.
Yeah,
never, ever.
Well, after fishing in St. Louis and then this past year fishing in Memphis, when I get on the Ohio, it'll probably seem like the current's going at a crawl.
Well, it seemed like it when we was down in Owensboro, but man, that was a blast too.
Yeah, even though we didn't catch no fish,
Well, we had, and we was on.
It wasn't the fact that we weren't trying. I don't know why we couldn't get them to bite. They just would not bite.
It wouldn't, except for that darned old gar. Boy, he was a mean.
Yeah. I still got the scar on my hand where He lit me up.
He's a big one. That's the biggest gar I've ever caught. In fact, I ain't sure it ain't the biggest gar I ever seen. It is a giant.
That thing was huge.
It was, but he'd be there for us again next year, Doc. If we don't get into the fish, we can always go up there and ring his bell.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But, you know, the odd thing about it, he hit just like a blue cat does.
Yeah.
I mean, he just laid that rod right down.
I'm still trying to figure out what he was doing in that deeper water.
Yeah.
Haven't got that yet either. You know, he's supposed to be down there that far. But it is what it is. It was a great time, and we'll all be back down there seeing O'Haron again this year, just like we'll be back at Memphis and get all that stuff lined out. This is going to be a really good tournament year. You know, once we get past winter blues, them guys will go down there this weekend. They'll have a blast all week, and they'll fish that tournament, and then we got all these tournaments coming up, and we're going to try to make everybody that gets involved with this national championship, we're going to keep their tournaments in front of everybody. So if for chance that you are fishing over around Dock and one of those tournaments over and you don't get in the top 5, then there'll be a lot more tournaments in that area or somewhere. Maybe you might have to drive a couple hours, but somebody else will be having a qualifying event, and you can go there and finish in the top 5 and qualify that way. There's going to be a lot of ways to get involved with this.
Yeah. There'll be a lot of tournaments available.
Sure. It's going to be a great deal of fun. Like I say, we're going to keep all the tournaments up in front of everybody so they know where they got to go to get involved with them and doing them. And hey, on another note, have you seen the bluegill that Heath Malone has been eating?
Yeah, through the
What's
ice. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe that he would do that and not share any of them with us. I mean, them are really nice gills, and
yeah, yes, they were.
I'm sure. I think he's probably foundering on them babies. Because he's sent me a picture of them all ready to go in the grease tonight, right before the show started, and I'm thinking, man,
oh really?
I wouldn't do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't do him that way, but well, I might.
Hey, here's something Charles Keene just posted on YouTube. He said, Chirp helps separate target fish from structure. So that's what Chirp does.
Separates your targeted fish from the structure.
From structure, yeah.
Cool. That's good. That would make it worth the investment in it, I would assume.
Yeah.
Especially if they're down low on the bottom. If you can separate them from the bottom when they're right on the bottom, that would be a great asset. Yeah,
and that's one of the toughest things that these units, has to do. So.
Yeah, now if they're off of the bottom, it don't have to be off bottom much.
No, and the unit will separate them. Yeah.
Right. But if they're laying on the bottom or kind of shimmied into that mud, then that's where the problems are for people to separate what they're doing. But blue cats, especially blue cats and flatheads, they're so structure oriented. They're going to be around some type of structure most of the time.
Right.
Most of the time. So that's, but yeah, that's good information. I didn't realize what it was actually for. I know a lot of guys talk about it. So first guy will say, well, I don't think I need that. And the second guy says, well, here's what you're missing out on. The first guy said, well, I don't ever fish that deep, or it doesn't work that good in shallow water. Well, and that's a great clarification for it. It separates from the bottom. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I sure didn't know that, but
yeah. Thanks for posting that, Charles. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. That's good information. So other than the conference and all the upcoming tournaments and stuff, what else we got going on, Doc?
I don't think of anything else. I'm not real sure when the tournament series all start up. I know Vince has got the very first tournament is in March for his tournament series, and that's at Rocky Fork, where I caught that 21-pound channel. Hopefully that bird will be 22 or 23 pounds by the time I get back there.
Well, he might still just weigh 21. If he gains 2 or 3 ounces, he'll still be a giant.
Oh yeah, yeah.
21-pound channel cat's a monster.
Yeah. I'll never catch that guy again. I should have branded him before I left and put a big L on his side there. So.
Yeah. I was talking to a guy yesterday on the phone that had called about the tournaments and stuff, and we was talking about Calamus Lake out in Nebraska and the size channel cat they got out there, and they got some really big channel cats like that all the time. And the bad part is it's a small lake and it doesn't have room for a big venue to be out there, but they really got some great channel cat out there. It's probably one of the better places in the mid-United States to go.
Yeah, the biggest thing on channel cats is if you got a good shad base or bluegill based forage, they're going to get big, and they're going to get big quick.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's all pure protein for those guys. They chow down on them, and they're going to gain a lot of weight in a very short order.
And that's fine with me, because if they're bigger than pan size, I'm going to throw them back anyhow. But I do like them channel cat. Now, as far as eating fish, it's hard to beat them.
I like catching them on your rod that you built me. That's a great rod. I love that rod.
That channel cat rod's pretty nice. I'm glad you're enjoying that thing. It's really cool. But I can't. I don't. Other than what we got going on to the conference, we're going to be doing a show down there. You're going to be doing a seminar down there, and there's what did Steve tell us last week? There'll be 5 or 6 other guys doing seminars at the conference.
Yeah, I believe so. Phil King, I think he's doing one. Jason Bridges he's doing a question and answer session.
Both those are great.
I think I remember seeing on the website that Hummingbird there's going to be a representative from Hummingbird down there.
That'll be really good.
That'll be good. Yeah.
James Big Cat Patterson. What more can you say? I mean,
yeah, one of my mentors.
Oh yeah, he's top notch. If you can't get something good out of a seminar that Jim Patterson puts on, you're not paying attention.
Yeah.
He's going to tell you stuff, and you may have to listen close, but he's going to give you information. You just got to read it.
Yeah.
And believe me, folks, James Patterson knows how to catch catfish.
And Joe's going to be talking about channel cats.
Joe Lutke is going to be doing channel cats. Joe is one of my favorite guys of all time. He's so much fun. He's been on our show. He's a great guy. His brother, Jerry Klein, sells the Tangle of Catfish products. And Joe will be professional. It'll be a great seminar. I've not ever been to one where he done before, but if we can break loose, I sure want to be able to see that. And if not, I'll have to wait to catch it when they post them on YouTube, because Joe Lutke is a super guy. I hope his dad, Jerry Klein Sr., gets to make it out there. If you guys have never talked with Jerry, or Jerry Jr., as far as that goes, but Jerry Klein Sr., he's a hoot, man. He's a blast. Calls him like he is, and he's just so much fun. That whole family is fun. That whole family is really good guys, and I'm sure they're going to be. Hopefully, Bill Parfit will be down there. Bill caught a giant fish down at Memphis, and maybe Jason Rath will show up down there. If we can get Jason Rath and Bill Parfit on the show with us at the same time, I'm telling you, folks, you guys are going to laugh from the time it comes on till the time them guys leave, because there's not anybody that I'm aware of that's any more fun than Jason Rath and Bill Parfit. They're just too much fun. They've been avoiding us for a long time.
Yeah.
But they're going to have to step it up here, because they need to do this. And of course, we're going to get all the other guys on that we try to always get on that's there. And I'm hoping we can get Phil King on. I've talked to Phil several times, and his work schedule and his fishing schedule and everything is kind of evaded to where it wouldn't work out. But maybe we get down there to Memphis. Maybe we can get him up in there, because I know Phil, and maybe he can get Tim to join him. We'll have them on there if we can get them on there. They'll be a blast. And I'm not sure if Jeff Dodd's going to be down there or not, but if Jeff Dodd shows up, We got to get him on the show.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Memphis was a blast.
I never had so much fun. That was just a blast. It was great times. And we'll have to figure something out for next year. The noise level in that pyramid was a little bit much for us. We're gonna work on some of that stuff and try to get it lined out. But yeah, John Warden was there, and I think he's going to try to be at the Catfish Conference. He's another good dude for catfishing sport, and we'll get as many of those guys on as we can. And like I say, you guys want to come by and visit with you, we'll get you signed up and get everybody in there. We'll have a good time. 2017 Catfish Conference, Louisville, Kentucky. Be a blast. Yep. Doc, what do you got for a Doc's tip of the night?
Doc's tip of the night: microfiber cleaning towels. These things are great for everything. They're your electronics, cleaning your hand when you got all that slime and gook on there. This stuff will take it right off. So, you know, right now they have all kinds of sales on these things. This pack I got here was like $5. So, you know, I tell everybody, you know, I wipe my transducers down with these things. You know, it won't put stuff on there. It won't scratch your transducers. These kind of towels will not scratch your lenses on your touch units and that kind of stuff. So this is all I ever use. So get yourself some microfiber cleaning towels. And as time goes on here on the show, I'll tell people, you know, how to use these things and the way to properly use them to do things to make things happen better on your boat. That's Doc's tip for the night.
That's a great tip, and those are a great product also. I use a product like that, and what I use them for is before I put finish on my rods, we shape handles and we shape grips and we make cork handles for everything. And that dust and stuff, you know, even though you've got a vacuum system and you're sucking it all up to keep the dust from being, it still gets out. And I go over my rods with that before I put the finish on to keep from any little specks being in the finish, because then you either got to sand them out or cut them out, redo it, and they work great for that. And you're correct; they do not scratch screens on your units or monitors or anything like that. It's a great product.
Yep,
great product. Well, I can't think of anything else we got going tonight, Doc. This tournaments around here is going to start up in March. I'm hoping to be on the water long before then if we can keep some temperature in the around here where we can get out. It's going to be a really good year. I'm going to miss Wheeler, folks. I hope you all have a great time. We'll all be looking forward to all the pictures and stuff that you're going to be sending through social media. I know I've been watching it for a couple of days now or a week, and I'm excited to see what all comes out of there. We'll be looking forward to all the pictures from the weigh-in. I hope didn't Daniel and them tell us that they was going to do a live feed for the weigh-in?
I think he said that. That's what I thought. They were going to attempt it, he said.
Right. Well, and in that area, it might be a little tough to get enough signal to do out there, but I hope they do, because I'd really like to see that. It's going to be a great time, and I think they're going to have a lot bigger crowd than they anticipated from all the guys that I've talked to that's going down there.
Well, and that's good, because that's what they want. They want to make sure they have a big turnout.
They need to do that. And folks, if you want to fish, and the fish are on fire there now, go down and jump in that Winter Blues on Wheeler tournament. It's going to be a great time, and they have really been laying out some pigs down there. Our tournaments will start up here around March, 1st of March or so. So I'm excited to get that. But like I say, we got some other projects in the work to get things done. So hopefully we'll have some warm weather to get to that between now and then. But if you don't have anything else, Doc, I think that'll do it for the evening.
Yeah, just everybody keep chucking your prayers. So.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Till next week, for Doc Lang, I'm Lyle Stokes, and thanks for watching Catfish Weekly.